$12 million weighs far too much when there is no one left to help you carry it. I am 90 years old, sitting in an empty $5 million house, and the only person I see all week is a cleaning lady who is afraid to look me in the eye. For 70 years, I built this golden mountain, only to find a graveyard of everything I ever loved at the peak. The most terrifying part is that I see you, and you are climbing into the very same trap right now. Listen to me while my cough allows me to catch my breath. My name is Daryl, and I am 90 years old. My fingers are always cold, even when the California asphalt is melting outside. I sit in an Italian leather chair that cost more than my parents' first home, and I look at my hands. With these hands, I sign contracts that crush competitors and build skyscrapers. Today, they cannot hold a cup of tea steady. My whole life was one long obstacle course where the finish line was a number with 6, 7, or 9 zeros. I made it. I beat everyone. And now I sit at this finish line in total solitude. Every object here was bought with hours I stole from the people who loved me. And now, these things stare back with cold indifference. I remember Ohio, 70 years ago. Sarah and I had a kitchen the size of the closet where I now keep my coats. It smelled of cheap burnt coffee and something like hope. Sarah would dance to the radio when she thought I was not looking. Her laughter was louder than the rattle of the old refrigerator. The evening light fell on her face, and in that golden light she was more beautiful than anyone I would ever meet again. But I was too busy studying just to simply look at her. I believed I had to build a fortress for her. I did not notice that what we already had was the only refuge we truly needed. The first step into the trap came when I made junior partner. I started working 80 hours a week, turning my days into an endless stream of figures and negotiations. I remember coming home after midnight. Sarah would already be asleep. A cold dinner under a napkin on the table. I felt a flicker of guilt, and I immediately drowned it with the thought that I was doing this for us. That is the greatest lie we feed ourselves to justify our absence from the lives of the people we supposedly love. We do not do it for them, we do it for our ego. My colleagues respected me. I mistook that respect for love. I mistook the silence of subordinates for the loyalty of friends. Then Emily was born. I remember her tiny fingers wrapping around my pinky in the hospital room. I looked at her and found another reason to work harder. I missed her first steps because I was in a meeting in Chicago. I missed her first performance because I was closing a deal in London. I sent massive stuffed animals and the latest gadgets, trying to buy my way out of my own absence. I thought a child's memory could be filled with things. It turns out children remember only the warmth of your presence, which I never had in stock. When she was a teenager, I tried to recover what I had missed by arranging trips to Europe. We sat in the finest restaurants in Paris like two strangers. I did not know her favorite books. I did not know her friends' names. I knew her shoe size and the balance of her debit card. By 45, I had become exactly what I had worked to become. Sarah stopped dancing. She moved through the rooms quietly, her eyes going flat and distant. We talked about the gardener's schedule, about the dinner party menu, about the yacht insurance. For our 20th anniversary, I bought her a diamond necklace. She looked at it as if I had placed a handful of cold gravel in her palm. She never wore it. It sat in the safe as a symbol of our marriage. Expensive, clean, and useless for warming anything. I wanted to say something that mattered, but the words would not come. I had spent so many years speaking in strategy and negotiation that plain human honesty felt like a dangerous vulnerability I had forgotten how to access. The perfect way to waste your life chasing money is to believe that time is infinite. I chose the approval of partners over my wife's company. I chose my seat on the board over sitting on the grass with my daughter. I turned my life into a perfectly tuned machine for producing capital and forgot that machines cannot taste food, cannot smell rain, cannot feel the warmth of another person. I became a function, expensive, respected, dead inside. I was a slave to what I had built, wearing the chains as decoration. Sarah did not leave dramatically. She simply stopped being present. One evening, I found her in the library, sitting in the dark, looking at nothing. She said, "Daryl, you won. We have everything, only we ourselves are no longer here." A week later, she packed one suitcase. She left for a small cottage in Vermont. She took nothing of my fortune. She said it smelled of loneliness, and she could no longer live with that smell. I stood in the entrance hall of my mansion, surrounded by antiques and paintings, and understood for the first time what real cold was. She preferred leaving everything behind just to feel alive again. Emily was married when I was 65. At the reception, I felt like a guest of honor who had been invited out of obligation. When the father-daughter dance began, she looked not at me, but somewhere past my shoulder. I tried to remember something from her childhood and found that what I remembered were the dates of wire transfers and the reports from her nannies. I was a stranger who had paid for the celebration, and she was grateful the way one is grateful to a generous donor. She went back to her husband, a man who earned a fraction of what I had, but who knew her in ways I never would. I watched her laugh and recognized the sound. It was the same as Sarah's laughter in Ohio all those years ago. Now I am 90. I have become an expert in how to lose everything while keeping full accounts. Put work first always. Tell yourself the family will understand. Never be in the moment you're actually in. When you are with your children, plan tomorrow's call. When you are with your wife, check your messages under the table. Compare yourself constantly to others. Let your neighbor's success be a personal injury. Never allow yourself to be grateful for what is already there. Always focus on what is missing. Accumulate objects, not experiences. I lie at night and listen to a clock measuring time that cannot be purchased back at any price. I accumulated a fortune capable of supporting generations. I did not accumulate a single memory that could warm me now. I think often about that old refrigerator in Ohio. Sometimes it seems that I would trade everything I own for one evening in that cramped kitchen. To smell that burnt coffee again. To hear Sarah's voice above the radio. But time does not negotiate. It takes payment in full, in actual moments, in closeness that you either spend or lose. My accounts are full and my refrigerator contains only medicines and water. The woman who cleans came today and left an apple on the table. Red, ordinary, $1 at most. I have not touched it. I just look at it. It smells of something real. I touch its skin with my cold fingers. Everything I actually needed was always small enough to hold. I built the most elaborate system imaginable to avoid noticing that. You have time. This sounds like something printed on a calendar until you are 90 and it becomes the only true sentence you know. You have time to choose differently. You have time to be honest, to be present, to be in the room when the room matters. Do not build a mountain you will have to stand on alone. Turn around now. The people who love you are still behind the fog of your busyness. Go to them. Tell them something true. Money is a useful tool and a catastrophic god. Do not worship it or you will arrive where I arrived. Wake up today, not at some future crisis, now. Feel the chair under you. the rhythm of your own breathing. This is the actual wealth. Go home, not to the building, to the people, and never trade their laughter for the silence of an empty house. Goodbye.